Element 49 on the periodic table of elements is indium. This is Norris Teaches Science with me, Mr. Norris. It's a physical science edition video of my lecture series. This video falls under the physics section of physical science. This wave is on top. This video is talking about some wave stuff that I've talked about in other videos. We're just expanding on it. So if you haven't watched any of the other wave videos, maybe it was a good time to go watch them. But today's topic is electromagnetic waves. So your goal is that I can discuss the different waves on the electromagnetic spectrum. So electromagnetic waves. In a video I talked about types of waves. I just addressed it really quick, but here's a little bit more about electromagnetic waves. They are placed on something called the electromagnetic spectrum. They're arranged by wavelengths and frequencies. One thing about electromagnetic waves, they can travel through a vacuum. What that means is an area that has like no air, it's no medium at all. They like no mediums because that's where they travel best. Now, the electromagnetic spectrum, some people also call it the EM spectrum for short. Think about it. All the times you have to say electromagnetic waves are on the electromagnetic spectrum because of la 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 electromagnetic. It gets really hard. So you can just say EM spectrum when you're referring to it. Now, when you read it from left to right, what you notice is the wavelength is going to decrease and the frequency is going to increase. And remember, if you haven't watched the wave part relationship, you need to know that wavelength and frequencies have opposite relationships, means as one increases, the other decreases. Now, types of electromagnetic waves. The first one is radio waves. They have the longest wavelength and they have the lowest frequency. That means of the waves up there, it has low energy. So when you think about radio waves, think about like the radio you would listen to music on, or TVs. Some TVs get their signal through radio waves, microwaves, and radar. If you're watching the news and you see the weather and they're talking about the radar, they're using radio waves to see where things are. I mean, radio waves are something that you deal with your cell phones if you have a cell phone. So the next type is called infrared rays. We can't see radio waves with our eyes, and we cannot see infrared rays with our eyes either. Not out of our eyes, but our eyes. And they're used to detect heat. Now, heat lamps will give off infrared rays, but night vision goggles use the idea of infrared rays to see images. We also have thermal imaging cameras that we can use using infrared rays to see where body heat is, or we use it in the medical field to see where inflammation of the skin is. I mean, there's different uses of it. We have devices that we can detect it with. We just cannot see it with our eyes. The next one is called visible light, and this is the only wave up here that we can see with our naked eye, or without having to use some type of device. Now, visible light is white light, but we can break white light down into its colors. And the abbreviation of all the colors is Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The colors of the rainbow. All right. You can see that over here in the pictures about white light coming into something called a prism. And the prism breaks the white light into its colors. Now, red light has the longest wavelength of visible light and the lowest frequency of visible light, while violet light has the shortest wavelength and highest frequency of visible light. The next type of electromagnetic wave is something called ultraviolet rays. Now, we cannot see these. These do come from the sun. We also can get them in tanning beds. Our body uses it to make vitamin D. Ultraviolet rays can cause sunburns, but most of the harmful ultraviolets from the sun are blocked by the ozone layer. But the thing is, ultraviolet rays can land into causing skin cancer, melanoma, and that's what you're seeing now here, some what we call moles or blemishes that have become cancerous or maybe be cancerous and have taken off. Melanoma is actually a really bad type of cancer. Go look up more about it. I myself have tons of moles all over my body. I was born with them, but I do have to watch myself in the sun, wear sunscreen, and I have to watch these moles. I've had, at this point, 5 removed in my life, none of which were cancerous, but it's a little daunting when you have to get them off and then wait a week or 10 days just to know if you could have cancer. The next type is x-rays. Again, we cannot see these. The x-rays can pass through skin, but they cannot pass through bone. Most likely you have had an x-ray in your life. This person had an x-ray when they looked at a nail that went through them. Or I get x-rays every once a year when I get my teeth cleaned. They take an x-ray of my teeth. I've had an x-ray of my back. I've had a full-bodied x-ray. But in some point in your life, you'll have an x-ray. But pay attention what they place over top of you, because they do place lead over certain areas of your body, because if x-rays are exposed to their certain areas of your body, you can get cancer in those areas. And the last type of electromagnetic wave we're going to talk about is gamma rays. They have the highest frequency on the EM spectrum. They have the highest energy on the EM spectrum. Most gamma rays are found in space, but we can stop them with 3 centimeters of lead or 3 meters of concrete. This is a little bit about electromagnetic waves. I even gave a little stories with it. Hope you learned something today. Go research more about all these electromagnetic waves. And this is Ms. Norris. I'll see you in the next video.